What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka 68J, coming to you on this Monday. I'm super excited as I have a phenomenal, brilliant, beyond brilliant, Nobel Peace Prize winner, mathematical genius. I'm super excited to have him on the show. Dave, XRPLions, how you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Now, before I get started, I have to pay you due respect and just name off some of the things before I ask, what you did prior. I'm going to name some things off that I asked you to send me. You have over 8,500 hours of forensic research from 4/3/21 to present on Twitter. 4 top 10 videos for 2023 on before it's news. 10 featured articles on amgnews.com, extensive public and private tax and accounting experience, former Big 8 tax and accounting firm, Pete Merrick and Mitchell Tax Department, 38 plus years tax and accounting, high net worth individuals. We were talking about that. Some of those names that I was just amazed. We're not going to mention them, but that's incredible. RE. It looks like P-Ships Corp's 5 years forensic accounting for the FBI financial fraud and money laundering case. Clients, CEO of U.S. Bank in Los Angeles, former owner, Chief Joseph Ranch, now Yellowstone TV series with Kevin Costner. I love that show. What a great show. 30 years trading on Wall Street in Chicago. Is it Mercantile? How you say that? Mercantile Exchange. Developed prosperity trading algorithms for stocks and futures trading. In August 2021, invited Jimmy Valhil Capital to join confidential committee using my XRP price models and discovery. Jimmy had a lot of great things to say about you, by the way. I talked to him. He said that you're a great friend. You're a genius and had nothing but great things to say about you. So shouts out to Jimmy and Molly over at Valhil Capital as well. It says, using my XRP pricing models and discovery to present 2 private offers, the Federal Reserve and U.S. Treasury Department in September 21, $25,000, in October 21, $37,500. Okay. It says 10/23/23 on the 3rd Confidential Committee and Valuation Committee presented my quantum XRP pricing models, which I've read is phenomenal. Last 2 years working solely to reveal the price for XRP as the provider of quantum liquidity for the global financial markets. White paper, XRPL, QFS, gold and silver pricing discovery. Nesra and Gensler, if that's how you said, having met with Dan Runtowski in 1994 private meeting on Nesra, created videos and the definitive guidebook for Redemption Center's protocol, Humanitarian Initiative Trust template and training materials for funding. My goodness. You've done a whole lot, my friend. That means, you obviously know things about what you're saying. And the reason that I love having people like you on the show, Dave, and I don't think I've told you this yet, is because it really validates the type of people that are involved with this asset. When we talk about XRP, a lot of times, and I don't like mentioning certain coins just out of respect for people who do believe in them, even though I may or may not. But let's say, for an example, you have a lot of people that go on the internet and they follow these people into, blindly follow these people who are shilling, Shikaka coin or Big Red Dog coin or Moon Boy coin or whatever it is. And you look at these people that are shilling them, and these guys might have worked at, Taco Bell as a manager for most of their life, and then they get on YouTube and they're a genius. And I don't say that to be disrespectful or facetious, but really just to say, when I look at people like you, when I look at people like Jimmy Valhil, when I look at people like Molly Elmore, when I look at people like, these Shannon Thorpe and many of these other people in the space that have done the research, and then also come from a phenomenal financial background. In your case, mathematical genius background and accounting some of the biggest firms and names around the country. It makes me feel good that I made the right decision. Anytime you look at a company that you're invested in, I'm looking at the people that are invested. If I'm looking at getting into a business like XRP, and the only people that are investing is like Ronald, Grimace and the Goblin over at, I'm being facetious. But when I look at these brilliant minds, it just makes me feel really good about the decisions that I've made and the things that I've done to put my family and our future in the right position. And so again, I'm so humbled. I'm so honored to have you on, my friend. We've had some offline discussions, and I really feel like this is going to be an epic show. So with that being said, and besides the things that I actually talked about, why don't we start off by talking about what, out of all the things you've done, what made you look at crypto, and what was the first thing that you saw when you looked at it?
Well, you're gonna be surprised.
Okay.
You're gonna be really surprised because my
Okay.
background, being in the tax field, and then also being a full-time investor, or I should say trader,
Okay.
trading almost round the clock. Started out in the equity market, and my biggest client from Chief Joseph's Ranch, he lost $1.9 million in a margin call.
Wow.
On a Black Thursday, and that woke me up to what was going on in the marketplace. So here I am giving tax advice, helping people save money, and everybody says, "Well, Dave, what do we do with our money now? All the tax money helped us save." Well, I started telling people, get into this mutual fund, do this, do that. They made a whole bunch of money, and this was when the market was crazy, and that new 25-year-old demographic was coming into the marketplace, 92 and above, and they're making six figures
Wow.
right out of the gate, and it was just crazy. And the market just went up and up and up and up and up and up and up, right into 2000. And then we had the apocalypse that was supposed to happen,
right,
with the Mayan calendar, which turned out to be a dud.
Right.
And actually, it's part of my journey on Twitter with XRP and my pricing model, and the fact that the gentlemen that were responsible for the count actually fudged it so they could line it up to exactly have it on December 21st, 2012.
Mm.
It was strategic. It was a cabal venture.
Okay.
To scare people and, make money along the way.
Right.
But, on my journey, what I found was my dad was a police officer for 35 years.
Okay.
A law enforcement family. Justice was job one. And when it came time to go into the workforce, there's only two ways to go when you go into finance. You either go into auditing or you go into tax.
Right.
Well, auditing is just going over records that have, things have already happened. Check the box, make sure things balance.
Right.
Where tax, you're creative. First semester, accounting 101, you open up the cover and it says, accounting is an art, not a science.
Right.
Now, if that can tell you anything about accounting, you can pretty much make it look however you want it to look, if you know what to do. But
right.
I always said I wanted to be the guy wearing the white hat. This is before I even knew the term white hat.
Right.
And I called the auditors, the guys that wear the black hat. So, I did that for a while, and I ended up getting into full-time trading and developing my own private algorithms, stuff that I was guided in putting together, Jay. And my programmer told me, he goes, "Dave, this isn't going to work." And I go, no, just do it. Just do it just like it says.
Right.
2 weeks later, he comes back and he goes, "Where did you get this?" And I go, "I had divine intervention." And he goes, "It's not supposed to work, Dave, but it works. And I don't know how it works, but the result that it produces is phenomenal. Can I use it for myself?"
Wow.
And this is a guy been programming for some of the highest Chicago Mercantile Exchange platforms, and he didn't know how it worked. So I did that for a while, and then we came into COVID, or I should say the C word.
Right.
And my wife and I ended up on the cruise ship in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah. So we ended up having a wonderful time. We went for my birthday. I'd gotten a word that something was going to happen. We were going to be walking into fire. I immediately saw Ratchak, Meshach, and Abednego.
Right. Right.
And I knew the fourth person there was going to take care of everything.
That's right.
And I was told, "Don't worry about it. You're going to be taken care of." Nothing bothered us. So we ended up getting, some time to kind of take a look at some stuff. And my brother and his son had been into, we'll call it crypto.
Okay.
Making money. And he says, "Hey, we're looking at this little coin called XRP. would you do your due diligence on it and tell me what you think?
So your first exposure to anything crypto was XRP.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, because I traded the S&P 500 futures, which is the most lucrative contract in the futures world.
Okay.
1 point move in the index is $50 profit.
Now this was your brother or brother-in-law?
Brother.
Okay, so your brother said, "Hey, do me a favor, look at this thing and see if you see any flaws or see what you think about it," something like that.
Yeah, tell me what you think.
Okay. And what happened from there?
Well, it took me about a week to kind of pull myself out from what I was doing. And within 5 minutes, I knew it was one.
Wow.
My intuition, my gut said, this is it. Now, I've shared this before, but I had 3 other opportunities to get into Bitcoin at under $1.
Wow.
Having hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest.
So you had exposure to Bitcoin early on.
Only the name.
Oh, only the name. Okay, gotcha.
Only the name.
Gotcha.
And it would come back around. And I would say, oh, look at that. But see, I knew how to see opportunity.
Right.
I've been in direct selling for over 35 years. Started out with A.L. Williams and I was with another company out of Texas. So I knew what opportunity looked like.
Right.
Like you know what it looks like.
Absolutely.
Most people don't know what it looks like until it's gone the other way.
Right.
They see it from the backside, not the front. So I started to drill down on it. And before I got back to him, I bought $200 worth of XRP.
Okay.
So I think I bought it like, 23 cents or something like that.
Right.
And then I told my brother, I says, hey, this is the one, this is the winner, take it from here. So I continued to build a little bit of a position. And I remember I was trading the S&P futures. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm watching my screen. I've got XRP up and it starts falling like a rock.
Wow.
It was at 63 cents and it's just
right.
going straight down. Well, the first thing a full-time trader learns is you don't watch your money go to zero.
That's right. Hopefully you got a stop loss.
Well, no, you don't do that either because
right.
they go down and they hit them.
That's right.
I punched out at 38 cents.
Okay.
And then I sat there and I watched it go all the way down to 17.
Okay.
It hit 17 and that still calm voice inside of me said, all in, get back in.
Right.
And it's rhetorical.
Right.
And it's not a suggestion. It's more of a directive.
That's right.
So I took all the profits plus what I had, and I just basically put it all right back in at 17 cents.
Okay.
And then I went, okay, now you're going to have to explain this to me because I don't know what just happened.
Right.
Well, then I began to go in and start taking a look at everything. Jimmy's video was the first video I saw on XRP.
Oh, wow.
And he was with James Rule, and Jimmy was explaining the fact that XRP was built, and words are very specific. It was built to carry a value of $10,000 to $35,000.
Wow.
Now, when he said that, I thought that came from Brad Garlinghouse.
Okay.
Because I had heard Brad say it.
Right.
I later found out after I got introduced to Jimmy in August of 2021, he said that.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad picked it up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just doing my thing, and I started on April 3rd, 2021, which is very interesting. It'll be 4 years and 2 more days, or 3 years and 2 more days. And somebody made a post and said, wow, look, it's 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
I didn't notice it. And then 2 weeks ago, I found out it was the day that Jesus died on the cross.
Well, I'll tell you what's impressive about you is you went from watching a video of this guy, Jimmy, that we both know, and I've got a lot of respect and admiration for. And then all of a sudden, my discussions with him is that he'll do anything in the world for you. You're a great guy and you're a friend. So obviously you're very impressive in the things that you've done as far as your research. It impressed him enough to say that. And so, so let's go from, you saw this evaluation, and did that set you on a path being a mathematical genius, and you were trained by one of the most brilliant persons, should I say, in the country, from what you told me, when it comes to mathematics. And so did that start to say, okay, well, let me break down what they did and come up with my own, evaluation? Or was it something that as you start looking at it, you were like, wait a minute, this is a lot bigger than what I'm hearing. Is that something? Is that kind of what happened?
You're on the path.
Okay. Okay.
So I start on April 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I make it took me a whole day just to figure out how to do a post.
Right. You like me.
So what do? I go find something that everybody's paying attention to, and that was Bitcoin.
Okay.
So I built a chart for Bitcoin using what's called base 10 math.
Okay.
Or perfect math.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my mentor taught me, which is actually developed by a gentleman named W.D. Gann from the 20s. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I have. I heard of the name before.
I found out in 22 he's my cousin.
Wow. Well, matter of fact, you were telling me that you traced that back to like the early 19 or 1800s or something like that. I can't remember how you explained it, but it was very fascinating.
The lineage comes through my great grandfather, who was Miles Standish,
okay,
who was Mr. Pilgrim on the Mayflower.
Oh wow!
And he's the one that got 40 other men on November 21st of 1620, while they were anchored outside of Cape Cod, because the weather pushed them away from Plymouth.
Right.
And they all signed what was called the Mayflower Compact.
Okay.
And it was like their Declaration of Independence, how they were going to run the colony. So he was kind of the outspoken one who kind of led everybody. Well, by the time it was all said and done, I had another grandfather, and that was William Bradford, and 3 grandmothers, because people died and remarried, and
right.
It was one of those type of situations. So through that lineage, that's what passed down, and that's how I ended up being related to W.D. Gann. He's as a cousin.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I live in Arizona now. I lived in Washington State, and about 45 minutes north of me is actually where the Gann Institute is.
Okay.
And I never went there, but I was always very intrigued about everything that he learned. And, because as a trader, you look for the things that they don't want you to know.
Right.
So saying, look to the left, and no, you go look at the right. And what I began to understand, that's how I built my algorithms, is there's things that the market does.
Right.
They make it look like it's chaos.
Right.
When it's not.
Right.
And even in the digital asset space, the only difference is we're dealing with the digital asset space like it was 1992 when the .com situation was happening.
Right.
And everybody's trying to monetize. And they're trying to throw their hat in the ring and see if they can build something to make money, because money's moving, very quickly.
Right.
And in this day and age, it's a lot of young money. Young money that, hits a grand slam, and then,
right.
Maybe that's all they do, and they just burn out. They phase out. They lose it all. But
right.
I knew when I looked at XRP and I started to understand its purpose. See, that's the key.
Purpose.
Okay. And we'll kind of tie into some of these other features, as we talk.
Okay.
It's not what people think it is. It's not. I mean, we can't even put it in the same league. It's the LeBron. Doesn't even belong, shouldn't even be in the league.
Wow.
He should just have his own league.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? So
Sure.
To give people, the audience that are listening, by the way, we're about almost 500 people now in just 20 minutes. So can you elaborate on that just a little bit more? Because I love that analogy.
Sure. Well, think of it this way. XRP is the counterpart to the XRPL. They're one. The XRPL can't function without XRP.
Okay.
It's the key. So you don't get in the house, right, unless you can unlock the door.
That's right.
Well, there's no other digital asset that can replace XRP. Now, there was a plan to steal it. And that's why I was brought over to Twitter.
Okay.
To reveal that. And I started to do that from day one.
Okay.
There was XLM. And these were all black hat projects in the beginning. Right after Bitcoin got started.
Okay.
David Schwartz was actually part of the team for Bitcoin. It was William Finney, Larry Page, David Schwartz, and Elon Musk.
That's why many people kept, throwing these rumors. Is it, David Schwartz? Is he Satoshi and all this crazy stuff? But yeah, I understand.
Well, Satoshi Nakamoto is actually the name of the two streets where William Finney or Hal Finney's apartment was on in Fremont, California. It's on the corner of Satoshi and Nakamoto.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. And they're actually the Satoshi group. There is no Satoshi Nakamoto.
There's no person. Like they had these pictures of this older Asian guy that may or may not be still alive today. Okay, gotcha.
Right. That was just to keep the narrative alive.
Okay, gotcha.
And Hal Finney actually had the key, with the 1 million Bitcoin on it. It's been lost.
Wow.
When he passed away. So that will never be recoverable. But back to XRP. So imagine you've got this tool. It isn't supposed to do what everything else does, but you have to hide it. It's like a diamond.
Right.
So what do? You just throw it in the sandbox with all the other kid toys. And then everybody just thinks it's a toy. Well, when it finally gets down to it, you have to protect it, right? When all of a sudden people are kind of, digging through the sandbox going, hey, there might be something in here worth something. What do? You bring in Gary Gensler.
Wow.
And he's the marshal. He's the witness protection guy. And if you want to talk a little bit about him for a second.
Absolutely.
His background, he was the chairman for the CCTC. And, that's the other side of the commodities market. Before that, he was a partner over at Goldman Sachs. And then he ends up working on Hillary's campaign. He works he did the CCTC under Obama. And then all of a sudden, he ends up at MIT.
Now, let me ask you this as you're going into this, because at one point, it seemed like Gary was pretty positive about crypto, had things to talk about with friends of his that worked on Algorand, and he talked about the use case that he totally understood with Ripple and XRP and all these different things. What changed that narrative? And maybe you're getting ready to go into that as you talk about MIT. Okay, let's keep that going. Let's keep that going then.
Okay, most people, and again, most people have a real short memory.
Right.
Okay, 38 years being a tax accountant, I can almost remember every conversation these guys have.
Wow.
That I hear. So he ends up in 2018 saying, Ethereum's a security, XRP is not. He's teaching blockchain. I got all the recordings before they were scrubbed. I got the transcripts.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, okay, you just made your coin. And now you want to get the bankers involved. What do? Well, they're going to come to you and tell you that just like they went to, this person, they're going to tell you, you have to give them 50% of your equity. That's the cost to play.
Right.
And they did it to everybody on Wall Street. They did it to Facebook. They did it to Google, did it to Intel. So what do? They let them come out of the gate strong, right, in their IPO, and then they tank.
Amazon as well.
Yep. And that's when they get their equity when it's low.
Yeah.
And then when that gets taken care of and now they can go play, it goes right back up. So what we're really seeing right now, Jay, is not what it appears to be, because it's really part of the psyop. It's part of the narrative to keep people busy, frustrated, but not to the point where they would engage. They're still going to be, chasing down that path to find out every little thing that they can. But we're going to come to see that it was all a narrative. It was all kabuki theater, smoke and mirrors. So I came out of the gate explaining this to people. And man, you should have seen the backlash.
Well, I can only imagine.
Bitcoin, Ethereum are the largest sting operations in history.
Wow.
And it was all about rounding up evil.
Can I ask you a question, if you don't mind, Dave? And I want you to continue on with this Gary Gensler pro crypto at one point, and then not so pro. But before that, something you just said, and I saw some comments of some of the people here in the chat. Why doesn't the government know what you know when it comes down to the Satoshi and the Nakamoto Street and who these guys are, or do they know and they're just playing dumb? I mean,
they know.
Okay, so being that they know, is this something they're holding to later? I mean, could that possibly crash the asset? I mean, because okay, all right,
no,
okay,
none of the assets are going to crash.
Okay,
and there's a reason for that, and we can talk about that in a little bit.
Okay,
but no, the market's just going to turn off, Jay.
Oh, wow!
They're just going to turn it off. Kind of like when the power goes out at home and your computer just goes, boom.
Wow!
Is everything still on your computer? Yeah, but what if it won't boot up? What if there's no electricity?
So wild about what you just said, Dave, and this is the second time I've heard that narrative in 30 minutes. I was called to a last meeting, a last minute, should I say, live with Edo Farina and Versan from Black Swan Capitalists, and they had Dr. Shiva on, and they were trying to get his opinion on CBDCs and on crypto, and he made that exact comment. That people don't understand; they can just flip it off. And I was like, what? And so you're the second person I've heard say that in the last 30 minutes. But continue on with that. That's amazing.
Well, and I'll kind of close that comment. In March of 20,
okay,
when the market finally bottomed, and Jerome Powell did his interview with 60 Minutes,
mm-hmm.
and that's where they asked him, "Where's the money come from? Do you print the money?" And he goes, "Well, no." He goes, "Because we're the Federal Reserve, we can put in to the computer whatever we want."
Wow.
And then he went on to say, "I also have all of the markets basically wired together with the kill switch. Jeez. And I can kill the global markets whenever I need to." See, they always give a clue.
Right.
They always give a tell. Well, Gary Gensler gave the tells. Ethereum's a security. XRP is not. Ripple put up $50 million to 17 universities for blockchain. MIT was number 2.
Wow.
I think they got the lion's share of it. So here he is at MIT. So you have to understand, these people do what they do, and they just rotate from institution. He goes from doing commodities, he's over at Goldman, goes to commodities, goes into the White House, right? He's trying to help Hillary. Now, is he really trying to help Hillary, or is he just staying close for intel?
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Right. Kind of like, keep your enemies close. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Right.
Right. So he's got the intel. So now he needs to go away for a little bit while they're finishing up so he can come into the SEC. So then he comes into the SEC. And again, his job is to protect XRP. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you was the thing that blew my mind.
Okay.
And that was, when did Jay Clayton file the lawsuit on XRP? December 22nd, 2020.
Okay.
He told Brad Garlinghouse the day before. And Brad Garlinghouse came on one of the talk shows, CNBC or whatever. I've got that recording now. And he said, "Oh, I got contacted by the SEC. They're going to be suing Ripple."
Wow.
On the 21st. So on the 21st, he gets notice. On the 22nd, Jay Clayton drops the papers as he's walking out the door with the Trump administration.
Wow.
Okay. There's a significance to that date. And I'm just going to cover just a little tiny bit of it.
Please do. Please do.
There was a contract that ended on December 21st, 2020. And it was all tied back to the Mayan calendar. And it was a cutoff. A contract ended. And that's why the lawsuit was filed the next day. Had it been dropped on the 21st or earlier, that contract would have allowed evil to continue to reign for all eternity.
Mm.
So good would not have prevailed.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that's really, really important.
Okay.
Because last 2 or 3 weeks, you know Dr. Kia Pruitt?
I did not.
You should have her on your show.
Okay. I would love to.
Fantastic lady. Fantastic lady. I was on her show a month or so ago, and I told her, I said, oh, you know, by the way, we're in this thing called the 7-year tribulation. And we're in the last half, which is 3.5 years. I said, it started on December 21st, 2020. I said, let's add 1,260 days and see what day it is.
Right.
It's June 2nd, 2024. Do you know what June 2nd, 2024 is? It's it's XRP's 12th anniversary.
Mm.
So when I came in and I started breaking all these codes that nobody had been able to break, Elon Musk found me the 4th day that I was on Twitter because I did a chart with Bitcoin using sacred math.
Okay.
And somebody told me, he responded and he said, hey, love your work. Keep doing it.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then progressively, I would get clues that would just show up about stuff.
Mm.
Like I broke the clue that he took $20 million of his Bitcoin profits, opened up 19 wallets on the XRPL and filled it with XRP.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody knew that. But I posted it, made it known. But David would drop these little clues. And I later found out that it was a game.
Mm.
So when I would answer the clue, I got to go to the next level. All the way to the point where we were literally having a conversation for 6 weeks every Saturday afternoon at 2:00.
But the average person wouldn't see that or know that.
No, nobody knew it. Nobody knew it.
Wow.
They thought they were answering other stuff. But here's Gary at MIT, and he's explaining you got to give up half the equity. But see, he wasn't trying to do that to say this is the position. He was trying to do it so we would be able to see how the SEC, how the Federal Reserve, how these branches, IRS, how they operated when they were in control.
I see.
So we're kind of looking backwards when they're doing stuff. So that's why they go, oh, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. He's injured all of the retail holders of XRP. Nobody's been injured. The actual price after the lawsuit was dropped, the average price is over 67 cents.
Mm.
Prior to, it's 19 cents.
Okay.
I mean, where somebody was injured. It's actually worth more than it was before. But there's other things that go into play. But see, that's the thing that is just keeping people out of the know because they're spending way too much energy in areas that make no sense at all. No sense. And everybody's part of the narrative. Because I remember right after the lawsuit, and I said this to Jimmy, I said, Brad Garlinghouse, he is too cool for school. I mean, having been in the industry, the SEC is breathing down your throat.
Right.
You're not smiling.
Yeah.
You're not just, kicking back, answering questions on the network. You're in panic mode. So it just reinforced what I had heard, what I had been told.
Right.
That was just a narrative. But see, things were progressing, and then this Nasara Jasara component was supposed to happen after the XRP buyback. XRP buyback was supposed to happen in December 21.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they moved Nasara Jasara in front of it, and they had to delay it, which pushed things back. See, this was supposed to be a 5-year plan, Jay.
Okay.
It got moved. It got consolidated to where they had to do everything at once.
I see.
And so now all of a sudden the timetable is getting a little rocky.
Right.
Because, like anything, once you start to consolidate it, you little things can pop up, and
right.
now you're not stable.
And it changes the narrative. And I love that you said that because, you know, I have a guest that's coming on in a couple of days. Her name is Shannon Thorpe. And I won't get too much into it, but there are some things that she heard and some things that she said. And then people quickly tried to discredit her when in all actuality, I said, look, man, you got to understand when you hear things, let's say, for an example, you have this financial institution, let's say bank of whatever, and you hear something as someone who's part of that, and you're talking about those things that you're hearing. And it may be, it's very possible that there's truth behind what you said, but if you heard it, then the chances are other people have heard it. And you know, if they want those narratives to change, it can easily do that. And so that's kind of what you're saying is that, you know, hey, it's not like these things weren't pre-planned, but there's things that changes those narratives big time. And so therefore you can't have, you know, always these dates and time that you think things are going to happen, because they're easily changed based off of those various circumstances.
Well, very, very few people know this. I know Jimmy's talked about it before, but you know, after those two private offers went to the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury Department, Jimmy gets contacted by JP Morgan. What's JP Morgan doing?
Right.
Why are they wanting to know about this?
Right.
So they actually voted 3 times to do the buyback.
Wow.
And the person that had the dissenting vote was their director of digital assets. And she said no. Later, Jimmy found out that she was tied to Ethereum. And then we found out last year that JP Morgan was Ethereum.
Man, yeah, it's crazy how it all ties in.
But see, they tried to hijack XRP. They thought they could re-engineer it. Well, you can't re-engineer something that wasn't made here.
Right.
It was made up there.
Right. Now, I know we have quite a bit to go over and a lot of things I want to show, including some slides, but I want to ask you this, and I don't want to get too far off topic here, but it's something you just said about Ethereum. Obviously, you, like so many of us, have watched Gary Gensler in front of these different congressional committees, and how it always seemed like he had a pass just to be in those moments where he didn't really talk about, you know, or answer when they were saying, hey, it's ETH security, or why this or why that. Why now? Why call ETH security now at this moment?
Well, remember,
in your opinion,
it's part of the sting operation, right? Now, one of the things I sent over to you, and one of the things that was revealed to me was, how do you catch rats? With cheese. What does Bitcoin look like? Cheese.
I love
BTC, bite the cheese.
I love it.
Okay. So then I pressed in and I said, well, what's ETH? Well, the most accepted definition for ETH is time. So there was Bitcoin, and then Ethereum allowed there to be time to catch all the rats. So you've got people in Ethereum, Joseph Lubin, all these people. They were nefarious to begin with, but they took the option to live. So they got to stay in their role as a bad guy, but all the intel had to be passed up. Now, their day's coming. We don't know what their arrangement is, but it was about catching the nefarious people. So what do you do? If you want to catch the rats, do you hover over the rat trap? No, you got to let it breathe. You got to turn off the lights. You got to keep it stocked with cheese.
Right.
You got to keep everybody involved.
Letting them get as fat as you let them get nice and fat.
Get all these social influencers to, parade it around and have their worldly parties to draw it in. That's what they've done. Now, time has been shortened to where everything on the peripheral is ready to go into our new economy.
I see.
Our 100% gold asset-backed currency. The fiat system has been terminated. It expired. It went bankrupt. It no longer has the ability to produce money. Nobody in the world will accept U.S. federal notes, fractionalized fiat currency.
Right.
Nobody. Canada and Mexico will take it for a short period of time, but that could turn off tomorrow.
Right.
So now you start to take off the safety mechanisms and you put it out in the light. And now it's time to say Ethereum is a security. Now, does it
Mm.
really matter at the end of the day? No.
It doesn't.
It's not ISO 222 compliant. It's not going to operate on the blockchain.
Right.
So when they turn everything off, all of that just gets suspended in time. It never comes back on. So any money that anybody has invested, gone.
Wow.
Right? Because that's the system we just get rid of. It's like the bad bank, right? You heard the Fed would create a bad bank and they would dump all the bad loans into
Right.
the bad bank and then flush the bank.
Right.
Well, they did that with Tether.
Mm.
That's where they buried all of the treasury bonds. Operation Sandman, $2.1 trillion. Because no other nation will operate in fiat currency. They're already all 100% gold backed. We're just waiting for the announcement.
Right.
So they're making sure that everything on the peripheral is cleaned up. Everybody's going to be safe. There's going to be casualties. And then lights go off.
Wow.
And then we get to hear the truth. But that old system has to, it's kind of like Sodom and Gomorrah. When the angels showed up to take Sodom or to take Lot and his wife out, what did they say?
Right.
Don't look back.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that story for sure. Yeah.
But see, the revelation of the story was, don't desire that more than where we're going.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, where we're going, no debt.
Right.
Everybody's going to have plenty of money. Everything that was stolen going all the way back to Adam is going to be given back.
Right.
And the money's already there. The Asian elders put it all up in gold. And see, that was my model, the liquidity model. So on the quantum financial system, how much money is going to be on there? Well, right now there's over 1 quadrillion in gold.
Wow.
That's 1 with 45 zeros. So all of that has to be backstopped, like insured almost.
Right.
Protected. Well, a gold standard was just, hey, we'll tell you we have gold, but really you're just going to, take our word for it.
No, essentially you're talking about a great reset. And I think that the issue, and I'm going to jump around on some of my questions here because one of the things that you see a lot of right now are people who get frustrated with XRP's price action. And obviously I feel, as I'm sure you do, they just don't understand, they don't understand the utility. They don't understand the business aspect of what's going on. They don't understand the true purpose for what it was created for. Mm-hmm. And so from a person who has served many in your life and has done that on a very high level, what do you say to that person who's maybe not that, and I hate to use these words, but maybe not that educated, maybe they don't understand business, maybe they're just looking for the quick result. Like when you think about the turtle and the hare, they're looking for that fast lottery ticket, scratcher, casino, slot machine type result that they're getting from these other meme coins and crap like that. This is not where we're at with XRP. So what do you say to that person who doesn't understand? And I'm asking this question because throughout our life, and I'm sure you have friends and family like this as well, that it's always this, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda type mindset. And they always seem to miss the boat. And a lot of times that's predicated off of the lack of knowledge or not being able to control their emotions or not having a plan, whatever the case may be. What do you say to that person who has an opportunity of a lifetime, whether they recognize it or not, Dave? What do you say to that person about their frustration right now with XRP trying to compare it to everything else?
Well, there's 2 ways to approach that question.
Okay.
Let me unpack it this way.
Okay.
The one thing that most people don't understand is trading is a zero-sum game. You can win 99 out of 100 times, and that 100th time you lose, and it takes it all away.
Wow.
So you could, it's kind of like what happened now. The cabal spent 108 years building their empire, and it was all taken away through executive orders. So what they have to understand is you want something that's going to last, not something that you can just make money on.
Absolutely.
See, money is just a tool. The question is, what do you do with it?
That's right.
Does it feed an addiction? Does it feed a habit? What kind of a lifestyle does it feed? Is it party hardy and until I drop?
Yeah.
And then when I get to reach a certain age, then I have to grow up? Or is it a function of I'm building something, I'm building an enterprise, I'm building a legacy? See, what's taking place right now, going in this new economy, is a legacy.
Right.
That is 200 to 400 years long.
Wow.
It's not, hey, I want this by 30. I want $1 million, $1 million by 30. I want my Ferrari by the time I'm 32.
Right.
I want to get married. I want to have 3 kids. I want to live in a house. No, that was the cabal system to enslave us.
Right.
This will be the first time in history where we are not forced to sell our soul to earn a living.
Wow. I love that. Yeah.
We will no longer have to earn a living. We're being provided with a resource.
I talk about that all the time, Dave. Being in a system that's not set up for us to win. And it's not about a race, but I say all people, it's financial slavery. And that's literally what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But what do we know with XRP? Again, it's not financial advice. We're just spitballing it. It's for educational purposes only.
Right. If
you understand where the economy is going, we've left a fiat currency system. We're going into a 100% gold asset-backed currency. We're going into more money than you can even imagine with zeros.
Right.
That isn't just going to be flowing to a few people. It's going to be flowing to everyone around the globe. Around the globe. This humanitarian money that's coming out. The Asian elders paid for all that. They are tapped into an unrelenting spigot of gold.
Wow.
It regenerates itself, and whatever they need, they just turn on the spigot. Doesn't it sound like somebody you know who does that?
Wow.
Who already knew what we needed and he made sure it was here?
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening. So what does it do? It moves our focus away from me. And now my eyes are pointed outward because my needs have already been met 100 times over. And now I can focus on humanity.
Right.
This is all for humanity and for the kids. 32,000 miles of dumb tunnels have been destroyed.
Right.
50 million children have been rescued. There's going to be generations going forward. Your grandkids will never know what evil was.
Right.
But it had to start someplace and it starts in a casino.
Yeah.
And that's what this is, the casino.
Yeah.
So, some people say, hey, I'm just going to throw some money at it. Well, that's that Las Vegas mentality.
That's right. That's right.
You're going to lose it, so you don't care. You just want the action.
That's right. Right.
Well, that's not XRP. XRP is the key that connects. Remember, Brad calls it a bridge.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's not a bridge like San Francisco Bridge. It's a bridge that connects the two parts of the XRPL, the part that operates in the 3rd dimension and the part that operates in the 5th dimension. That's why it's unhackable. And it operates off of Starlink. So nobody can ever steal your money. There's no other coin that can do that.
Right.
And I don't even like to call it a coin.
Right.
It's a key.
Right. A key. Right.
It's a key. You ever watch Stargate?
Oh, absolutely.
The gate.
Right.
Gateway. And I've seen how it operates.
Right.
So it knows what to do. And that comment about the 2022 Nobel Peace Prize, we're working, Jimmy and I were working in between the 2nd and the 3rd Valuation Committee.
Wow.
And I'm now involved in NUSARA, JASARA, redemption centers, humanitarian trusts, templates. And all of a sudden, I get the revelation of quantum. The definition for the word quantum is how much. That's what quantum definition is. How much?
Right.
And what's the question? How much money do we need? What's all the money on the XRPL? Well, we can't possibly try to figure out all the money, as we found out in the committee, because we were talking about asteroid exploration and harvesting and things like that. But what was the one thing we could quantify? The Asian elders' gold.
Right.
And how much they put up. So we had the one quattrodecillion, 1 to the 45th power. Well, Jay, that is so big that just the gold that the Asian elders have stored in mind 7 years ago was a cube 10.5 miles high, deep, and wide.
Wow.
And that would produce enough money for every person on the planet, $871 trillion per person.
Jeez.
That was their second smallest amount of gold. So we had what they gave to the U.S. Treasury Department on July 24th, 2022. Trump was there when they signed it. Then I found the paperwork for the 100 quadrillion metric tons that they have already mined and stored. And then we know what was pulled out of the Vatican tunnels. Tunnel from the Vatican to Jerusalem, Vatican to Switzerland.
Right.
And I did a whole big write-up on that. I identified they went to the UK, Buckingham Palace. And I was told there's 25 times more gold there.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden I just started to see where all the tunnels were going. And I mapped them all out. But they're not going to tell us because it's irrelevant.
Right.
Because we don't need all that. We just needed enough money coming back into the economy globally to kickstart it, to repair the damage that the Luciferian, deep state cabal.
So what was it? Was it your coverage on that and your report on that earned you the Nobel Peace Prize at that time?
I didn't actually win the prize, but no,
okay.
Let me tie it together.
Okay.
So now the quantum aspect is just, it's expanding. And everything that we've been talking about at the committee, it just goes out the window.
Okay.
Because now we're in the quantum realm.
Okay.
That's a multiple of 4. So if we were trading 4 times the trading hours, more money coming in from Nassara to Sara. So now there's $8 quadrillion in the market.
Right.
Not 70 trillion. We're talking tens of hundreds of quadrillions. So all of a sudden this thing started to change. And I went, Jimmy, this thing's changing. It's got so much more to it than what we originally thought.
Right.
Even with regards to the buyback, different language, contracts, etc.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to deal with the liquidity and try to get it down to the smallest amount I can. So that way, when a person understands that no country paid for this, not one tax dollar was spent. In fact, all those tax dollars are being refunded to everybody. Going back over 40 years, every penny. The money for the bonds, the birth certificate bonds, Social Security, etc.
Right.
So, all that's coming back.
Right.
Humanitarian money, Zim bonds, dinar, etc. But here we have XRP, and nobody can talk about it. Brad can't talk about it. David can't talk about it. Why? They're under non-disclosures. I'm the only one that can talk about it. So I'm like John the Baptist out there. Here it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
Right.
And I'm doing all the work, and everything's proofing. And it was because I spent that 2 years with my mentor,
right,
who helped me understand how the markets operate, because he trained all the Chicago floor traders. It just clicked.
Right.
And all of a sudden I'm like, and Jimmy's going, how are you doing this stuff?
Right.
I go, I just know it.
Right.
And it proved, and it proved, and it proved. And even to the point of pricing the gold and the silver on the QFS. It has a multiple under the fiat system going back to 1935.
Right.
The dollar depreciated down to a nickel.
Wow.
Well, how do you take a nickel back to $1? You have to multiply it times 20. So I knew what the price for gold was. It was $1,953.12.5. Multiply it times 20. to take you to a gold standard or gold asset backed standard. And it came to $39,062.50 per ounce on the QFS.
I got you. Makes sense.
Now the next step was, and Jimmy laughed. I mean, when I told him this, he just let out like this big belly laugh. And I said, well, Jimmy, it actually goes up from there. And he goes, what do you mean? And so Ripple joined the Pound Foundation, not the Ounce Foundation.
Right.
So we have to multiply it times 16. Well, when we do that, it takes it to $625,000 a pound.
Wow.
And that's the golden mean, or the Fibonacci ratio.
Right.
So 62.5% of the backing for XRP will be gold. The other 37.5% will be silver, nickel. Nickel, silver, and platinum.
Right.
And I already know what silver is.
Right.
So it starts at $25.
Right. Now let me ask you this, because we're about and there's so much more that I want to cover, and I don't want people to miss any of this stuff that me and you are going to talk about. We're about 1,000 people now. We're just under an hour, but I want to make sure we get into some of these really next level topics here. So if we could briefly go into, because there's so many other questions, your evaluation of XRP being $1 million per coin. How did you come up with that? If you don't mind
very
sharing.
Simple. Very, very, very simple.
If you could break that down, that'd be you. Because I've got a lot of questions people are asking in the chat, but if I do that, we'll probably be 3 hours into this. So maybe towards the end, I'll go back and let you answer some of these questions. Yeah.
And here's how you think about it.
Okay.
There's only one number that we need to know.
Okay.
So our equation is X, which is XRP. It equals all the money. What we're going to call all the money. In this case, we're just gonna use gold.
And I don't want to cut you off. There's not a slide for this, is it, that I should be bringing up, or no?
I
know you sent me some slides, so if there's one, I'll put it up.
I think there was, but I'm not sure.
Okay, let me go in here and see, because I don't want to cheat people from this breakdown here. So let me go into, let's see, messages here. Let's see, where's it at? It could be here. Share, because if there's a slide, I want people to be able to see that here. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like I can show here. So let's go. XRP price discovery process. Would that be it?
Let's keep going.
Okay, there's one that says XRP price discovery process clues.
Oh, that one's awesome all by itself.
Okay, so there's one
house basically stating there is no peer on Earth to XRP.
So tell me which one will help you go through what you're getting ready to go through. Right?
We can use that one right there.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's do it. Okay.
Now, this is a breakdown of actually from Ripple's corporate office.
Okay.
That's Chris Larson right there.
Okay.
And he's showing somebody the Fibonacci sequence that they have on their wall.
Okay.
It's these circles, right? Well, those circles have values. And the three circles that he showed, I have them shown here.
Mm-hmm.
They equal 10 to the second, 10 to the fourth, and 10 to the sixth. Well, 10 to the sixth is $1 million.
Okay.
So we'll just hold that. We'll hold that.
Okay.
But we need to come up with our equation. And our equation is X equals ATM, all the money, whatever it is, divided by the number of pre-minted XRP, which we know to be 100 billion. So we didn't give XRP a price to then see how much liquidity it would cover. See, that's the error. That's the error people are making.
Okay.
They're not understanding that it doesn't function with market cap. Why? Because we can't own it.
That's right.
Now, see, everything else people put their money into. No, we're going to be paid back for tendering it, for exchanging it. So we're going to have to give it back up. Why?
Okay.
Nobody can own it. That's why it has an X in front of it. Nobody can own it.
It makes sense.
Nobody understands that. X in front of anything means nobody can own it.
Which is why they said it wasn't created for retail. Got it.
But even a bank, you can't own it. And there's actually a slide I gave you from the Ripple manual that says that no retail holder can own or hold XRP.
Okay.
Now, that just proves the point. But what we're really doing is this real simple calculation to say, okay, we need to make sure that 100 billion XRP, when it's divided into all the money, gives us a value for XRP that's sufficient to cover all the liquidity needs. Well, people can't even comprehend the liquidity need.
Right.
Now, in base 10 math, these little boxes that are over on the right-hand side, they show the liquidity needs for each area of the market, going all the way down to 10 to the first, 10 to the second, 10 to the third. So you can see the spiral, right? The nautilus. Well, that top line is 10 to the fifth.
Okay.
That's 100,000. It peaks at 100,000.
Okay.
So that's our Wall Street. That's our Bitcoin. Well, in order to go to the next level goes from 100,000 to 1 million. That's 10 to the sixth.
Okay.
Okay. Now you continue to carry that forward. And what happens in the calculation is what's 10 to the sixth plus 10 to the 11th, which is 100 billion, 10 to the 17th. There's that 17 number popping up. And we know what letters associated with that. So there's all these clues from what they put out there to what the hard math shows.
Okay.
That 10 to the 17th power provides us with $100 quadrillion of liquidity. That's enough liquidity. And I already calculated this. I haven't put out my white paper yet, but I was able to calculate how much liquidity can be handled. And I'm coming full circle here. So the problem we ran into was we got stuck with Einstein's theory of relativity equals mc squared.
Okay.
And I'm like, speed is everything. Well, you got a Ferrari, Jay. You live in a gated community, a mobile home park. Speed limit's 5 miles an hour.
Right.
How much is your Ferrari really worth? Nothing. You can't operate it the way it was built to run.
Right.
The XRP ledger was not built to run on a third dimension internet.
Okay.
Now, it was operating at 1,500 transactions per second. They throttled it back. So I was able to tie the price of XRP to the number of transactions. And I came up with a formula that actually puts it to the price for XRP. Now get this. I think it was about 6 months ago. And all of a sudden Brad Gullinghouse comes out and says, oh, we're going to increase the transaction speed on the XRPL for XRP to 33 to 3,800. Wait a minute. Did somebody look behind the curtain and go, what's that dial for?
Right.
When were we ever told they could change the speed?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Never. Well, what he was doing is he was sending me a confirmation that everything that I had posted and put out there about transactions being tied to speed, being tied to value, he's already matched the price for $1 million XRP with the speed.
Wow.
Per second. Now, when we go into the quantum realm, and I'm tying this together. So October 22, I'm telling Jimmy, we got a problem with transaction speed with the speed of light. But I know we can still do 100 quadrillion transactions per second. This article comes out, these three gentlemen, they just prove that the theory of relativity doesn't limit how many transactions can be done in the fifth dimension based on speed of light. And here's what it basically says. Jay, if you're in the third dimension and you know you're going to need to do 100 quadrillion transactions per second, we already knew that.
Right.
So we already built it in. So it already does it. Don't worry about it. And that's what they proved. That when you go to do the transaction in the third dimension, the fifth dimension already knows you needed to do it. And it's done.
Wow.
Without having to do anything. I mean, it's just absolutely wild.
So if you don't mind, let's switch over to, we obviously know how phenomenal XRP is. Let's talk about Ripple. Do you feel it's a solid company? Obviously, when everything was going haywire, crazy, and we saw Bitcoin drop from 68,000 down to what 15,000 and some change.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of companies were heading for the hills, leaving the U.S., folding. CEOs were getting fired, banks were running, people were laying off. But XRP kept growing. They kept acquiring another company. They kept growing. They kept bringing all these amazing people onto their team. Would you say Ripple is a solid company, and if so, why?
Well, back in the beginning, this was my thesis.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what XRP was going to do with the XRPL, how it's going to function, Ripple was chosen to be the fiduciary. They were given the task of taking care of XRP. Okay, David has done a brilliant job. He's a genius,
right? In
being able to interpret what needed to be done so it could function in a three-dimensional world.
Okay.
Because basically it's dumbed down because it can't do what it's really designed to do. Now, when we connect to the fifth dimension, it's going to blow everybody's mind.
Yeah.
But see, we won't own it by then.
Yeah.
We will have already turned it in so it can do exactly what it was meant to do 100% of the time. Now, in my mind, Ripple is the best fiduciary because going back to the governance that was agreed to by all the countries, they agreed to have the United States be the fiduciary. They didn't want that responsibility. They didn't want to go to China. They wanted it so everything was out in the open. They didn't want anything behind closed doors, nothing behind a curtain, nothing nefarious like the Fed and the SEC was doing before. And they wanted the governance such that the 7 countries, actually, 7 kingdoms now, would not have to be meeting on a continual and regular basis, figuring out what the price for XRP would be, because it would be disruptive. And that was one of the factors in the price discovery. We couldn't come in and negotiate a deal if we knew the price was going to change next year, because now all of a sudden we have $100 quadrillion in the economy globally, growing at 22.5% a year.
Right.
And we have to raise the price.
Dave, I want to ask you a question. I want you to definitely answer it as honestly as you can. When you sit up here and you see all these people that are in this space, you see the Michael Saylors, the Cathie Woods, Arkansas, you see all these other, from influencers to big time corporate people who are, you got your Max Kaisers and all that, Bitcoin maxis, and they understand this and they understand that. Why don't they get the value of XRP? Why do they seem so brilliant about their understanding of Bitcoin and other things? Some of them will even say, hey, Solana's the next thing and whatever. Why don't they see the value in XRP as we do?
They do.
They do.
They do.
Okay.
They do. And I'll tell you this. They're part of the acting team. Remember? They're drawing them in. Now, I can't remember who it was, but there was a point when Cathie came out and she said, Bitcoin is going to go to $1,250,000.
Right. Well, she's changed that now up. She's higher now, but yeah, I remember that.
And then somebody after that came out and said, no, it's going to be $1,300,000.
Right.
You don't come up with those kinds of values. You don't. And what they were doing was they were signaling that's where XRP is going. So it was the signal to get out of Bitcoin and buy into XRP. Now, they're still, having to do their thing, but all the intelligence goes to goes up, and they're just doing their part.
Now, when you hear people like, there was a conversation with Charles Gasparino, I believe, and Larry Fink, and Charles specifically asked him some things about XRP and XRP ETFs and some other things that he had asked, and Larry Fink didn't want to comment. He didn't say no, because basically what it was, to sum it up, is, are you guys interested in XRP? Are you guys planning on investing in XRP? And he just, instead of saying no, he says, I can't comment. That's all he could say. And he did it in a way almost like he was keeping something from us, because, you could say, are you invested in Chicago coin? No, absolutely not. But that's not what we got. It was like, well, I can't comment. And he goes, you don't, and then he says, well, we want to know. He goes, no, you really don't want to know the answer to that. I'm like, what? Like that was weird. That was
Well,
weird.
imagine him. He's an operative. Okay.
Okay.
He's not the real one. He's the clone playing the part. He could be wearing a mask. Jamie Dimon was wearing a mask at Davos. It was almost hilarious. I figured they probably had to do 5 takes on his interview because you could just see the skin was just, falling out everywhere. They're probably just laughing their heads off. But what he's basically saying is, time's up. We're wrapping this thing up. So we don't need to try to attract any more people. The trap is full.
So acknowledgement. Wow. So acknowledgement. They don't want that. They don't want to. Wow, that's different.
Yeah. They're turning off the faucet. So it doesn't do any good to try to attract more people.
Makes sense.
Because they've already got 99.9% of them. And they know that we could be days to weeks away when that EBS goes off.
Right.
Stock market gets turned off. EBS announcement goes off. We get the text messages. We're supposed to head home within 3 to 5 hours. We're told to stay home.
Wow.
And then we go, 10 days of disclosure with a follow-up of 3 days after that. And then we're told about the Nasara, what we need to do for redemption centers. And it's a whole new world.
Let me throw this in here because again, we've got quite a bit, and I want to get to some more of these slides here. And I know nothing we're talking about is financial advice. I want to make sure that you're protected with that, and so am I. But where do you see? Because obviously XRP right now is moving with the rest of the market. If Bitcoin goes up or the market goes up, it goes up, and if it goes down, we dip when it dips, whatever the case may be. I've always said if Bitcoin goes up to over 100 grand, you'll see probably, or get somewhere up towards that point, you'll see XRP move along with the rest of the markets until it doesn't, meaning that until it's utilized what it's really was created for, then I think at some point it will detach itself. Where do you see XRP in the very short term and in the very long term, and what do those 2 time frames look like, if you don't mind
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin, from a base 10 math situation, it's about its peak. So we've already seen market action with regards to that.
Okay.
Again, it's just going to get turned off. So anything in there is just going to, evaporate. XRP, and I posted on this. XRP has a top price of about $1.37 because it has to stay at roughly $1 million, which is based upon its price. So I've got price and transactions tied to $1 million. So I've got 3 things. Well, my transactions aren't going to move anymore.
Okay.
That's already taken me to $1 million valuation on XRP. So the only thing that's lagging is the price. So the price component can go up to $1.37.5 at the peak, but it hits $1 million at $1.21. And these are all base 10 math numbers. Okay. So this is why I said, if they were to come out and settle the quasi suit.
Right. Ridiculous.
On that. Yeah.
Right.
I just posted what the settlement price should be too.
And I did see that because you broke down why they asked for $2 billion, which I think a lot of people don't understand. And actually, let me see. Where would I find that? Because you can actually explain it, but you actually broke down this is why they're asking for $2 billion.
It was one of the slides.
Okay. Oh, it is one of the slides. Okay,
yeah,
so go ahead and finish the short term and long term, and then I'm gonna find that slide right now.
So the one thing that we don't know yet is whether or not they're going to just let the top off.
Okay.
Now, what would be the advantage of letting the top off? And when I say let the top off, let it go to $1.37. It's just to take out the traders.
Okay.
Because we know that a large percentage of the people that hold it, they're going to cash out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
And if it's not, a small percentage, it could be all of it, because they're of the mindset, and this is how the markets always train people. It goes up and then it goes down. It goes up and then it goes down. So you think, oh, it's going up. I'm going to cash out. And I want to wait for it to drop back down. I'm going to buy back in. I'm going to start the cycle all over again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works with this. The only thing that could happen is they decide that they want to clear out traders. And by doing it, they take back XRP.
Wow.
Because it won't come back. And I'm of the opinion that the exchanges have already been told that anything that, oh, that's my Rosie Rios.
Okay, this is not it. Okay, I was trying to find it here. I know it's one of these here. I just can't.
It's got a whole bunch of red on it.
A bunch of red. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, and it's all big letters. It was one of the. I think it was one of the first ones I sent you. I actually did post it on my Twitter page.
Not that one.
No.
Okay.
You can go to my Twitter page and find it.
Okay, let's do that because I'm not finding it here.
That's
so
probably a lot easier.
Okay, let's do that then. Boom. Twitter page and
I think you can see it if you go to my profile.
You said if I go to your profile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there it is. It's on my profile.
Okay, so where do I go here?
You just click on my picture. Scroll down.
Oh, okay.
Just scroll down. Keep going. Keep going. More. Keep going. It's right under this one.
This here?
Keep going. Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Right there.
Oh, right here. Boom. See it. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
All right, got it.
So when they first established the $1.3 billion value that they wanted,
Okay.
the first thing I said was, well, it's got to be tied to price.
Okay.
And what I did is I proved that the 1.3 was tied to the price, and it was 26 cents. It was actually 26 cents and just a little bit of change after that.
Okay.
So I knew I had it. And then I did this last night, and it's exactly what it is.
Wow.
And what they did, because it's a final settlement, they raised the multiplication factor from 10 to 12.5. Well, 12.5 is the 1/8 mark for what's called a perfect square.
And I can barely see the bottom where it's circled in yellow, but that's just, it says escrow 40.
Yeah, that's the escrow value.
Okay.
So it's $2 billion divided by what's left in the escrow.
Okay.
And that equals 0.0499.
Okay.
You multiply that times 1/8 of 100, which is 12.5.
Okay.
And it gives us 62 cents.
Current price.
That's the value.
Wow.
When they threw it out there.
Wow.
So now what it is, I went back in and I said, well, they never get what they ask for.
Never. Yeah.
So I was
but you never ask for what you want.
Right. Well, they're notorious, right? You watch watch a billionaire, they want 100 billion and they settle for $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I went and factored it down, and the lowest value would be 250 million. Now, when you look at 250 million, that's on 400 billion or 40 billion. So if you take 250 million divided by 40 billion, it's like what, 2.5 cents a token? That's nothing.
Right.
But it's the $1 billion number.
Right.
It gets everybody worked up.
Right.
It's like, who wouldn't pay a penalty at 2 cents on the dollar?
Right.
You would run to pay, if the IRS said, hey, we'll settle your IRS debt for 2 cents on the dollar.
Right.
You're like, how late are you open? I'm driving down.
Right.
So it's all relative.
If you don't mind, Dave, let me take a pause here and just say thank you so much for all you guys that are tuning in today. We've got 1,300 people that are watching right now, currently live. I want to also go over and ask you guys to do me a huge favor and follow, support my friend Dave, XRPLion, brilliant guy. And obviously, if you didn't start watching this from the beginning, go back and start watching from the beginning and look at his credentials, his history, his experience is absolutely mind-blowing. Shouts out to the Crypto4Life family and for all of you guys who are watching, even with XRPLions community. Shouts out to all you guys that are here. JC, I see you. Crypto Navigator, Monkey Business, my beautiful queen, my best friend. Jeanette McFadden, and Liz Herrera, my sister, one of the greatest supporters of guys. She just posted a link that you guys can go check out. Not only our Crypto4Life page on Telegram, our YouTube, and what have you. And also, I want to share Dave's Rumble. So we're going to go over here, and I'm going to hit share, and that's going to be right here. It's Dave XRP Lion. Make sure you go over. It says Dave XRP Lion Show. It's absolutely phenomenal. This guy has a phenomenal community. His videos range into the tens of thousands. His knowledge is second to none, and I'm definitely going to be joining and continuously following Dave moving forward. Also, before we continue on, if you guys could do me a huge personal favor, go over to our Crypto4Life YouTube, where we post live videos each and every day. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe and notification bell so you guys don't miss any of the incredible content and information here. And we have some amazing people on our show, like Dave. I don't know if anyone's quite like Dave. Dave is absolutely a next level, but I definitely appreciate him coming on here, and definitely appreciate you guys being here. So now, Dave, with that being said, we talked about the price potential. We talked about why people get frustrated. Where do you see crypto in its entirety over the next 5+ years?
Can I go back and finalize that prior question?
Please do.
Why
Yes,
are
sir.
people frustrated?
Yes, please.
People are frustrated because they're trying to compare XRP, which is not a trader's token, with trading tokens.
Right.
Okay. At the end of the day,
I see that, and I don't mean to cut you. I see these comments every day on my platform. I'm sure you do. Why is this going up? But XRP is. I mean, we get that every single day, Dave. Every day.
Yeah. Well, it can't. It can't. It's like, okay, wax your Ferrari a little bit more in the trailer park, and maybe it'll be worth more. You're like, Dave, it doesn't matter what I do, the price ain't going up. I got to get outside that gate. I got to let this horse loose.
Right.
And that's basically the same thing here.
Yeah.
So if you want to look at it as a trading token, well, you're going to be frustrated.
Yeah.
But if you look at it as a key that connects, it's a bridge, right? It makes the exchange of value possible. So that way, say the XRPL does many other functions. It records, it reports, and it stores every single transaction in the world. Somebody goes and buys a pack of gum. Okay. The minimum transaction on the XRPL can be $1. Why? Because there's 1 million drips in an XRP. Come on, guys. Why would they make it put 1 million drips in there?
Right.
Because we're going to use the smallest value that we can, which is $1.
Wow.
And now we're not, so to speak, eating up XRP.
And for those who don't understand, can you elaborate a little bit more on what a drip is, Dave? Yeah.
What they basically did is they took the token and they made it equivalent to 1 million X. So it can be divvied up into 1 million units.
Wow.
For one token. Now you can go, I sent some of this stuff to you. You can go back and look at some of David Schwartz's old posts, 2017, 2018. The guy's a genius. He got tired. Nobody could figure out what he was saying.
Wow.
And he makes comments like, well, if it needs to be $1 million, it'll be $1 million.
I've heard that. Yeah. See if I can find that.
Why? Because we're talking about moving liquidity. So it's really just replacing money in the banking system.
Right.
But where's the money going to reside? On the quantum financial system. We're not going to need banks. We're going to have quantum phones. We're going to have quantum laptops. I mean, I was just, enjoying Resurrection Sunday meal with my grandkids and stuff.
Yeah. And thank you so much for shouting out and sending me and wishing me that as well. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
They do everything on their phone.
Yeah.
They don't want to go to a bank. Nobody does. We're the old ones that have to get weaned off of it.
Yeah.
But how fast did Grandma learn how to get onto Amazon?
Do you mind if I read this that you just quoted? Because I want people to understand that what I love about people like yourself, or specifically you, is you talk about things and then you go back and validate it. And that's that's some of the best information which you can go back and validate what someone says. David Schwartz, Joe Katz, 11/20/2017, replying to some people over on at the time Twitter, now called X. It can't be dirt cheap. That doesn't make any sense. If XRP costs $1, they need a million XRP, which would cost 1 million. If XRP costs $1 million, they need 1 XRP, which would again cost 1 million. Love it.
Mm-hmm. And what he's basically saying is, we have to have this thing carry a value, so we don't have to have so many of these things.
Right.
Now, I will say this, and I really tried to be gracious in showing where your guest from the other night kind of missed part of the equation in figuring out XRP. Now, did he do anything wrong? Absolutely not. But he wasn't thinking in quantum. Because I used to be there.
Right.
I remember the Simpson chalkboard, 589.
Yeah.
That got me fired up.
Yeah.
And then I went, wait a minute, I broke all those clues, and that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right.
But again, it's about moving liquidity. It's not about XRP. Because if you didn't have it, you wouldn't care.
Right.
And fortunately, when our past president didn't stay in office, because it was more important to take care of nefarious people and evil, it opened the door. Guys, we weren't supposed to be able to get this. This was all cabal. It was all going to go to them. And the Fed and the banksters, that's what the reserve was created for. So they could leak out 50% of the tokens to them. And nobody would ever know why, because there's no regulation.
Makes sense.
But thankfully, it was set up to where they could only put so much out there. Because remember, this plan was supposed to go through 2030.
Right.
Well, when they accelerated the plan and consolidated 5 years on the alliance side and pulled all the projects together, Nasara, Jasara, etc., XRP buyback, it was like full court press. We're in the last 2 minutes. Let's go.
Right.
And you either know how to deal with it or you don't, right? And when you don't know how to deal with it, the wheels come off the bus.
That's right.
And that's exactly what happened. So all you have to do is decide whether you understand that the economy needs liquidity and it has to have something to put the liquidity into.
Okay.
But they didn't pay for it. It's not market cap.
Right.
Because the money went to the government.
Right. Which is something you always hear people scream, just the market cap, and they just don't understand that that's irrelevant.
Doesn't apply to a pre-minted coin.
Right.
But again, they've had what? Since 2009 to MK Ultra program people, with all the TA specialists out there.
Right.
Oh, look, it's going to go up to $1.36.
Right.
And everybody's going to leverage out.
Do you mind if we take a couple questions from the I know we're on a roll here, and I value your time, as I'm sure you have a lot of things going on, but I'll just throw a couple out there. The captain is asking, does the value/price of XRP need to go up before the gold-backed financial reset?
No.
Okay.
Because it's already valued on the XRP, on the QFS. But while it stays here,
that's right.
It's a 63 cent coin.
Mm.
So it's going there no matter what. We're not stopping it. It's just, will we allow our mind to accept the fact that we need the liquidity, but we're not really establishing the price for XRP.
Okay.
The liquidity is. Right?
Right.
So if somebody said, hey, we need to give everybody $1 million to make Bitcoin have enough liquidity to do what it's supposed to do,
right?
Who would question it? No, I don't want it. No, don't give it to me. No, I want to hold it forever, and I want to stake it and make 3% a year.
Right.
Come on, people.
Right.
When you would know better than anybody as an entrepreneur.
That's right.
$1 in the hand today is worth more than 50 cents 5 years from now.
That's right.
Matter of fact, I even, in my pricing, I even went back to one of the top sports agents who was negotiating a contract for a top basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing he said was, wait a minute, we're using a discounted pricing model. Okay. 10% is not a safe rate.
Right.
We need a rate that is down like, at 2%. Well, when you do that, you get more money up front.
That's right.
Because you don't need as much on the backside because you're cautious.
Absolutely.
And kind of the same thing here.
Yeah, you definitely need to know what you hold. And I always say it's going to be the greatest story in a person's life or one of the biggest regrets. So,
it's going to be like, going to be like the $1 million beanie baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Anthony Wanner, thanks so much, my brother. He says, I don't get, no, he says he's speaking a different frequency. It's time to make sure you guys tune in to the right frequency. Let's see here. We have, why do you need, this is more monkey business. Why do you need 10 different banks if it's on a quantum computer?
Well, initially, when you say 10 different banks, I'm not sure I understand that.
I'm not understanding that either.
I'm going to try to interpret it.
Okay.
But once we go through the redemption centers, we're going to be able to activate 1 to 3 bank accounts. The only reason why the banks are still here is to help transition people in the technology to understand how to fully operate their devices and communicate directly with the QFS. The banks may be here 3 years tops. Kind of like Swift. Swift got a 2-year agreement. And at the end of 2 years, it was rolled up. 75% of their customers were gone in the first year. And then in 2024, 23, the rest were to be gone.
Right.
But in order to make it look like it was smooth, Ripple wrapped their arm around him and said, hey, well, this is no different than the senior partner of the firm that's getting bought out, having the new owners wrap their arm around him, pat him on the back, say, there's your office.
Yeah.
Don't come in.
Yeah.
And they just pay him for 2 years.
Yeah.
And he never does a lick of work. So it's just transition, but it doesn't function.
Makes sense.
It doesn't work. We can't wait a week.
Yeah. So guys, I can't ask, I don't want to put him in a position. I can't ask it. And I think that's a great question, Edward Barecki, if that's how you say it. I think that would be a financial advice question, even if he says it's not. And if he answers it, I don't want to I got to make sure I protect my guests here with that question. But I think that's a question of just understanding what you hold and understand the value of what XRP is. And I don't want you to answer this question, but I'll put what maybe he put, and that is, I asked this earlier, should I take my money out of the stock market and if the dollar is going to collapse and buy more XRP? I think that's more of a personal decision, and that will be probably based and predicated off of your research into.
Can I answer the first part?
Okay, go ahead.
Because it ties into Nasara.
Okay.
This is what we know, and this is what I put out there before.
Just want to make sure I don't put you in a bad position.
Yeah, no, I understand. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anything that you have in the bank account right now is 100% mirrored onto the quantum financial system.
Okay.
In your quantum financial account. So you walk into the bank today and deposit $100, it's automatically put onto your quantum financial account. It's called your QAC, quantum access account. The stock market is a completely different story. Why? Because it was created to corrupt. It was corrupted. It was defiled. It was nefarious. The White Hat Military Alliance has already taken back New York Stock Exchange, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ.
Okay.
BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street owned 80% of the S&P 500. Okay. The White Hats took it all back. They control all of it. The stock market actually isn't running. It's an algorithm. About 8 months ago, the company that provides all the real-time data quotes fired the entire industry. So they could not use the quotes. Well, how convenient. You get them to dump the quote system. Now you just plug in your algorithm in the White Hats and you just let the market run up. Why? because they're guaranteeing the IRA accounts, the retirement accounts. This is why the market is turning off and not crashing, because they're preserving those balances. So if you got an IRA that has gold in it, when it's all said and done, that value is mirrored onto the quantum financial system in your account. You will not get the asset. You will get the value in the currency. You won't get the Apple stock. You won't get any of that. You don't get the property,
right?
The asset. You get the value. But when it's all said and done, just turn it off.
Wow.
But they need a marker, because they couldn't guarantee something, and it wouldn't be fair if Apple went from $150 to $25.
Right.
Then they recuperated for everybody up to $125.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And they've already cut all the cables in the Red Sea.
Mm.
Internet cables. And he's wired, right? One button.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all ready to go. And now,
Guys,
the second question, that's a question that you're going to have to lean into and get an answer for yourself.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, we're all adults.
Yeah.
We can all, take a look at the information and decide for ourselves.
That's right. And
I make the right choice.
Yeah, and there's a lot of questions coming in, guys. I got to get back to the topics here. So let me ask the next question here, and that is let's see here. Your views on BRICS, Ripple, and the Bank of International Settlements.
Okay, BRICS. BRICS. Think of BRICS as this. This is how I explained it before. 209 nations already came together in one accord and signed the BRICS agreement to leave the fiat reserve banking system.
Right.
They've already done it. And also at the same time, they signed the Nassar agreement. So they couldn't do one without the other. Now, by signing the Nassar agreement, they agreed to never be involved with war ever again.
I see.
If they do anything with regards to war, they lose everything that they have, and the other 208 nations will come against them and take them out.
Wow.
I mean, this is serious.
Big time.
So again, in the narrative, it's baby steps. Oh, they want to join. Well, everybody's already joined. Again, it's the story. It's kind of like finding out that, Survivor's rigged.
Right.
They knew they were going to, win this one and lose that one. And it was about the drama.
That's right.
Or half the people were staff. And you're like,
wow.
Oh my gosh, I really like them.
Right. So sometimes that plays out more often than not. Yeah.
Well, it's a problem for the sports industry.
That's right.
It may just be over with.
That's right. But no, that's a great analogy, and shouts out to all you guys. Shouts out to my beautiful wife and all those who are here. Shouts out to Optimistic Prime. Shouts out to my best friend Mike Owens. I appreciate that, my brother. Proud of you as well. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for all being here. We're over 1,500, approaches 1,600 live.
We'll hit 2,000 before we're done.
Yeah, Dave is just absolutely amazing. We're gonna keep this thing going.
Your BIS.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, it's already been converted. So every 3-letter agency is already under White Hat Global Military Alliance Control.
Wow.
WHO, WH, all of them globally. So again, everybody's, it's kind of like going, really? You were one of those actors?
Right.
That's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to go, oh man, did I get taken?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, stop losing all the energy right now.
That's right.
And you won't feel so bad when you find out, because you know what? You enjoyed your life. You had time to go do things with the family.
Right.
But
isn't that what they're trying to create, Dave? I mean, isn't it all about the chaos? I mean, isn't that what they're trying to create?
It's a distraction.
Yeah, it's a distraction. Exactly. It's like every time something, and I said this the other day, and maybe you agree or disagree, every time there's some type of hope in the XRP community or in this space, it always seems like we're delivered a blow. Anytime something positive happens to the left, they always throw chaos to the right. It's all about, because if you can keep us confused and you can keep us panicking, then you can keep us controlled. Isn't that what it's all about?
Well, I would agree to that statement, but I wouldn't apply XRP to it, and I'll tell you why. Everybody points out the fact that How did XRP be the one they went after?
Right.
Well, look at it the other way. XRP is the only one they're protecting.
Right.
They're keeping it safe. They're
Right.
keeping all the nefarious people out. So what they're doing is they're getting those people that are nefarious, and they're just getting so frustrated
Right.
to where they just dump their, 100,000 XRP, and now they're into
Jeez.
Doge and
Yeah.
they're into, Shaka Khan or whatever that coin is.
Shikaka.
They're willing to go jump in the pig pen. It's
Oh
like,
God,
wow.
that's funny. Shaka Khan.
I mean,
Gosh.
people are just gonna believe me. The joke is gonna happen so fast. They're gonna feel so embarrassed that they bought into it.
Right.
And I mean, again, you don't have to believe me.
Could any other asset have survived what XRP and Ripple have survived, being that they've been able to stay in the top 6 through that whole chaos, at one point being number 2, but still through all that crap and all that chaos, still I don't think so either.
No, because what would have happened? They would have imploded within a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, remember Library?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember the guy with Library? He came forward. Yeah. He was the testimony to tell us what the SEC used to do. It wasn't about what they did now. Because what did he do? He could just come out of the blue. And he's like, yeah, they came to me and cornered me in my conference room, and they closed the door and they said, hey, if you want to play, then you got to give us half your coins. And he goes, here you go. Look at that one.
Wow.
I'm not doing it. I'll just give you the one finger hello sign. See, it wasn't what they were doing to him. It was, this is how they used to operate. So everybody would be pissed off.
It's kind of like I heard Molly Elmore said that on my show, where she was talking about it's much like a mob. You have to pay to play.
Oh yeah, I taught her all that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But see, that's how they operated.
Wow.
See, that's why they never set regulation. So they could come in, strong arm you, get you into, position, tell you how it had to be. And then if you started to step out of line, what do they do? Come back and do it again.
Jeez.
Over and over and over again. But again, if you notice, they did it to all the ones that survived.
Yeah.
Why? Because the Wall Street money backed them. And it gave the bankers a chance to load up on those securities into their portfolios.
Yeah.
And make money because that's what they're all about.
Unbelievable.
I know.
Your thoughts on the SEC from a coordinated timeline standpoint?
Well, when I first came to Twitter, the first things I started to post about was a kinder, gentler type of SEC.
Okay.
And Federal Reserve. Now, I didn't know what that meant. I mean, I didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
Now, that was like day 2. I'm putting this out there going, what is this all about? But again, the SEC isn't going to be the SEC.
Right.
Just like the IRS isn't going to be the IRS.
Okay.
Trump hired the 80,000 agents right before the election and had them all trained because they were going into the National Tax Agency to help with the enforcement and collection of the 14% consumption tax. And that's the reason why they have to wear a gun. They're like a marshal.
Wow.
Now, and this brings up a really interesting point. We have Venmo and we have all these instant pay services. Those will all be gone. The Federal Reserve has FedNow to replace all of them. And the reason there's FedNow, even though I don't like it being called FedNow, the name might change to, something different, but it's to help everybody understand that these businesses that are collecting this tax every single day have to remit it every single day. So eventually their systems will be set up such that it's digital coming in, and the moment it's collected, it's digital going out. And that all ends up going right through the XRPL. So just think about the transaction value.
Yeah.
When I ran my number on the GDP of all 209 nations. To stress test.
Right.
the $100 quadrillion. And I said, okay, I'm going to trade $100 quadrillion globally per second. Literally instantly in the quantum realm. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You wouldn't believe the number. It's a big number.
Right.
But the 100 quadrillion can handle it.
Right.
I don't need any more. And I'm good until 2030.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So come 2030, it goes up just a little bit. But I proved that because of one of the little tidbits that David Shorts put out there.
Right.
And you actually showed the comment that he made.
Right.
He made a comment that didn't add up. The math didn't work.
Right.
And I went in and looked at the math and I said, wait a minute, this doesn't work. He said, this is supposed to be this and it's not. Well, what is it? What is it? Well, I was able to factor that come 2030, so 2031, et cetera, we're growing at 22.5% per year, Jay.
Wow.
Our global economy is growing that fast. So we're needing to raise the value of XRP by $250,000 a year. So paying us off now at $1 million, it's a great deal for them.
Right.
And we don't want to wait 6 more years.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
We don't need to chase it. But it eventually gets to be $1 billion coin.
Right. Right.
In 2062. But
Wow.
by then we won't need money.
Exactly. That's a whole different ball game.
Well, and I decoded that off of the Rosie Rios $100 bill. So come 2047, we no longer use money.
If you don't mind, I want to ask a question that somebody's been kind of asking me here. One of my friends who's part of Ladies Night, which we go live every Friday. And by the way, guys, let me throw a couple things out. Every Friday we go live at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ladies Night. Tomorrow I have AJ on from Formula with BitBoy, and that'll be 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then we have Shannon Thorpe on Wednesday. We got a lot of a phenomenal lineup, guys, and I'm working on some things as we speak. But for Dave, it says, can you have Dave explain his interpretation of how these elders, and this is a question that we were talking about before, are not part of the CCP and how they hid this gold through the ages of the CCP?
Great question.
Okay,
Great
that's
question.
Optimistic Prime, by the way.
Excellent. Excellent question.
Brilliant.
Let me break it down for you this way. They were chosen.
Okay.
Divinely chosen to be the storehouse on the earth. Going back thousands of years, back to the emperors.
Okay.
Okay. Chinese, Asian, etc. There are 5 families. They're called the White Dragons.
Okay.
Okay. Their purpose in being here was to store up the wealth for now. They're in the Philippines. They own 90% of the Philippines and 90% of the world's gold. They have an unending supply of gold that they're tapped into. What they did, which was brilliant, we think about how divine power works, right? They were the source to loan the money to the cabal.
Wow.
So they loaned the money to a group called the Committee of 300. And we learned about them in the Valuation Committee. So Jimmy came up with a document called the Committee of 300. Because it got to the point where, Dave, how are you going to get people to understand big numbers? Well, this broke it down. How much they loaned to the 300 largest financiers in the world, banks. And this is in some of my videos. The Federal Reserve borrowed 10 million metric tons of gold. And it was a 5 with 60 zeros after it.
Jeez.
Yeah. Now the Bank of Sweden had a 1 with 200 zeros.
Wow.
And this is just 2.
Jeez.
The World Bank had an infinity sign. Rothschilds had an infinity sign. So they didn't try to hide it. They basically said, hey, we're open for business. Who wants to borrow money? Because just like the message of the master who's leaving town, right? The 5 talents.
Right.
He gives this one. He says, okay, you grow it. When I come back, I'll pick it up. That's all they did.
Wow.
And this is what caused us to go off of the gold standard. Our government had borrowed $200 billion in gold from the Asian elders. 2 weeks before the payments due in August of 1971,
Mm-hmm.
the Federal Reserve Chairman goes to Dick and says, Dick, we can't pay the loan.
Mm.
They all run off to Camp David. They come back. He has a semi-annual address and says, we are leaving the gold standard in 1971. What they
Wow.
immediately did is they fractionalized the money.
Mm.
And this is what they did. The dollar was our only real money. And you can look at a dollar bill and you look in the lower left-hand corner and it says Treasurer of the United States.
Right.
On the $1 bill, it's all one word.
Mm.
Even though it goes up and down in caps and lowercase.
Right.
On the 5 through 100, it's all spaced.
Mm.
Fractionally. So you take a dollar divided by 100, it's a penny. 2 cents for a 50, etc.
Wow.
So what they did is they took the money and they took it down to a penny.
Mm.
And they paid a $200 billion debt with 1 penny per $100.
Jeez.
That's why they did it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I have one guy, Bobby Townsend, shouts out to Bobby Townsend, says, Dave is really easy to follow with the way he explains things. Where can we follow him? Can you do me a favor, Dave, and let everyone know how they can follow you, how they can get hold of you, and just connect with you after the show?
Sure. I mean, the best thing to do is just to go over to my Twitter page.
Okay,
it's the at sign.
Pull it up right quick. Okay, let's see. It's right here.
It was on my little moniker.
Okay, so we have it right here, and it's at XRPLion1.
Yes.
You guys make sure you go over and follow Dave over there, and then I also
make sure you've got the Twitter verification, because I've like 100 different imposters.
Yeah, I literally had a guy or someone tried to befriend me, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm already connected to Dave, and he didn't have this. So guys, make sure you have the blue check mark right here.
I am only on Twitter, and I'm only on Rumble.
Okay, let me go to Rumble real quick.
I don't email. I don't use, I'm not on Telegram. That's where all the scammers are.
Right. And unless you're 68J, the chances are Dave is not going to message you. So it's right here, guys. Rumble, and you can see Dave right here, his official account. Just if you don't mind, Dave, really quickly, I know we're trying to stay on topic here. What can people find, or what will they get by connecting with Dave, other than obviously brilliance and truth and the answers they're looking for? What else can they expect by going over to Rumble and following you on your X page, sir, if you don't mind?
Well, on my X page, I'm posting every day.
Okay.
I'm posting new revelation that I get, new math discoveries that I get. I've been posting on the calendar.
Right.
And I mean, we're going to a new 13-month, 28-day calendar.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. Just more things that are relative to the day-to-day.
Yeah.
That are taking place in space.
Yeah.
And then you can go over to Rumble and you can see how I consolidate it into a teaching video.
And by the way, guys, we're not talking about a guy who's getting, a few hundred, views. And I hate saying that because obviously we're a new up and coming channel, but this, I mean, you're talking about 74,000 after 15 days, 216,000 after 20. I mean, people are connected.
That's just on Rumble.
Wow.
It's on Trump News Channel, Trump News. I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah. So you guys make sure you follow my brother Dave and his content. Show your support. And by the way, I do believe that we're going to be. Thank you so much, beautiful. That we're going to be having Dave on and staying connected to Dave because I'm definitely a fan. I love his mindset. He's someone that he reminds me of someone that when I want the right answer, I'm calling Dave. And so guys, make sure you stay connected to him and all that he does. We'll get to a couple more questions here, Dave, if you don't mind. Thoughts on CBDCs, my friend, the good versus the bad, if there's a good or a bad. I mean, your perspective on CBDCs.
Well, there's two sides.
Okay.
There's good and evil. What we're going into is the good side.
Okay.
That's our 100% gold asset-backed currency system. CBDCs were the Luciferian deep state cabal Khazarian mafia reserve bank system. The reason why they were creating the CBDCs, and again, they had a 30-year plan. They were supposed to get this all done by 2030. When the white hats stepped up the timeline, it crushed them. But what I will tell you crushed them was this. Remember when we had the big financial crash?
Mm-hmm.
And Bernanke took interest rates down to 0 to 25 basis points. The moment they saw that Trump wasn't going to stay in, they went all in, Jay. The cabal went in 600 to 1.
Wow.
Yeah. They had more leverage out there than the banks did. And remember we talked about the tells?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember when Bernanke had to get up in front of the press. By the way, we were 30 minutes away from the entire global financial system stopping, going under. And they finally gave him the permission that he needed because that's why he was in that position. He was the expert. And they opened up something in the range of, 700 trillion or more. I heard it was actually in the quadrillions. But where'd they get the money? Asian elders.
Wow.
Right there. They're the storehouse. So we were able to weather that debt. But here's what happened. They got them so fixated on no interest rates. And then all of a sudden, Jerome Powell is like, oh, maybe we'll raise rates in 26. Of course, I already knew that's happened in 22.
Wow.
And then it was like, well, maybe, third quarter 25. So literally within 6 weeks, he went from 2026 to next month. Now, how do you plan for that if you're the cabal? You can't.
Yeah.
But this is what Bernanke said in 2009. He said, right now, if we have to raise interest rates just 25 basis points, it'll bankrupt the world. That was the tell. Now, the Rosie Rios $100 bill was made in 2009. It was shown in 2010, and it went into circulation in 2013. Now, I encourage everybody to find one. And it's really plain on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, it has a gold feather pen, and it has, gold numbers. But what that is a timeline walking us into from the fiat system. And once we cross that blue line, we're into a 100% gold-backed system.
Right.
It literally gives us the transition. It's a timeline, and I proved it. And I mean, it's amazing what it shows. But here we've had these things since 2013 telling us the cabal was going to go out of business and we were going into a much better system.
Right.
Well, what do we know? You got to put it in people's hands, right? You got to get them to see it, even though they don't know what it is, so it can manifest. And that's exactly what's happening now. But it was that interest rate increase, and that's why everybody's going to win it. Powell's supposed to lower interest rates when inflation goes up. And then he postures, he goes, yeah, maybe we'll do it. And then Wall Street gets all excited and we get a rally. And of course that just supports the algorithm going up, right?
Right.
Because there's no real data. They just put it out there. And then when we get right down to it, he goes, oh, maybe not. But he's not going to take the foot off the head of the snake.
Right.
I mean, they've already cut all the limbs off, and now they're just waiting for the final to cut the head off. And that's what's taking place. But see, the trap that they had intended for us with that, it's the same trap that took them out. It's the 99 times you won, the one time you lost. Game over.
Yeah, that's well, I'll tell you what, I'm beside myself, excited and honored to have you on the show. I know there's some actual, I don't think we got into all the let me see if I can find it here. Some of the slides here.
Well, what I can say is to end the CBDC conversation.
Okay.
We won't have CBDCs at all.
Okay.
That's cabal.
Okay.
That's control.
Well, I think you've answered the question, but I'll tell you at this point,
we didn't cover John Deaton and.
Oh, that's right. We did have
Elizabeth
that. So your thoughts on? I'm glad you actually brought that up. I must have skipped over it. Your thoughts on John Deaton, and do you feel that's something that's powerful or positive for the crypto space? Not just XRP. Obviously, I feel for the community as well, but just in crypto as a whole.
No. No. 90% of our government's going to be gone. So it's going to be run on 10%.
Okay.
And I already went through and calculated everything.
Okay.
So we're only going to have 10% of the representatives that we had before. Texas is where the New Republic is. The Treasury is in Reno.
Right.
Actually in one of the military facilities. And with the national sales tax of 14%, they're going to split that with the states. So I figured there's no income tax.
Right.
And none of the income tax actually went to our government. It all went to the Queen. And then it circled back around to pay off the politicians. Not $1 was spent on our debt. Not $1.
Wow.
But with the national sales tax, when it's all said and done, Trump's gonna have everything running, or whoever it is, at 37.5% of what it used to cost.
Right.
And that's like starting day one. Now imagine this 22.5% growth rate that kicks in starting 2030. It means it doubles every 3.2 years.
Right.
I mean, you talk about an economy that's humming. And the majority of that money is the money that's coming back to all of us.
Right.
The restoration, the reclamation, repatriation.
Yeah.
And then you got all the humanitarian money. Because the Asian elders agreed to buy back all of the Zim bonds for Zimbabwe. It wasn't a loan. It's like, hey, we'll cover it. We'll pick up the check.
Right.
We want you out of debt. Every country's out of debt, by the way.
Jeez.
Yeah. But we can't share that narrative in its fullest.
Right.
Just yet, because we'd have people tilting. They're not ready to receive yet because they're still, suffering from Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
But they'll come around.
Well, I definitely want to give you an opportunity. Any final thoughts? We're 2 hours up. We're 1,800 live. It's been an incredible show. I would say probably one of our greatest shows ever. And I definitely look forward to having you back on again and connecting with you on many things. Your final thoughts to
Yes.
the audience, both the Crypto4Life audience, the XRPLion audience, and all those who might be seeing Dave for the first time. Obviously, we saw someone say, this guy is very easy to listen to. He makes sense. I love it. Just final thoughts to the people out here watching Dave.
Well, this is what I would say. I would say, number one, we want to hold everything loosely. We don't want to put ourselves in a position so we're disappointed. Going forward into this NASAR program with the Redemption Center, where we actually get to claim our money, we have to be in the best posture possible.
Okay.
And when I say that, we don't want to be harboring resentment or offense or anything of that nature.
Right.
Because we're going into this because we want to be in the next wave of goodness.
Right.
Because it's going to be an economy based on love. The currency is going to be love. Trading isn't going to be a currency because it's not what we want to do. I mean, I was a trader for 30 years. I don't want to go back to it.
Right. Right.
It was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll never have to do that again. But what I would suggest everybody do, and I'm sure you have a place to link this. Number one would be to watch one of my videos about the Redemption Center.
Okay.
So you have an understanding. And there's also a manual. So you can understand the stations. And I would say that it's about just certain information they don't want us to know. So it's about 65 to 80% accurate. It's the most accurate piece of information out there. And I ended up with the task of putting it out there, which is fine with me because, you know, I care for everybody and I want everybody to do it right.
Right.
But the other thing about it is there's this huge untapped source of humanitarian money. Now, when you hear this number, I just want you to be prepared.
Okay.
Okay. They are saying to expect at least $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can prove yourself to be worthy in doing with that money what you say you're going to do with it, it opens up the possibility to $8 billion, Jay.
Jeez. Wow.
And I put together the template that you actually take with you to the redemption center. It's 99% done. I put over 120 hours into just the documents.
Wow. And they can find, and where can they find this at, Dave? Is it on Rumble?
That's right on my profile page, right at the top.
Okay, perfect. So for those of you guys who are here asking for more information where you can find it, he just gave it to you. Follow my guy, Dave. Stay connected to Dave. I'm so honored to have you on the show. So honored to call you a friend and someone that I definitely look up to in all the things that you've done in life. And you continue to do for this community, for the XRP community, for crypto. A lot of people probably didn't know you played a huge part in the evaluation that was put together. And I definitely thank you for that. I think it was needed. I think, you know, for those of us who really thought we knew, but really didn't know on that scale. And I hope that this show and this stream gives people some type of confidence and understanding what they hold and what's to come. So, Dave, I thank you with everything that I am. I thank you for taking your time. I appreciate you in a major way. And so, guys, do me a favor, follow my friend Dave XRPLions both on X and on his Rumble page. I appreciate you guys in a major way. I'll see you guys mañana. And until then, it's your boy James, aka 68J. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks, Dave.